The thoughts, views, and opinions expressed by this podcast, as well as its hosts, are for entertainment purposes only. The viewpoints expressed, although based on very real topics, are not to be taken as fact. With that being said, enjoy the show.
Hello, world. Hello, world. Hello, world. Welcome to Part in the Politics podcast. We back. I'm back. Really? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hello, world. Welcome to Part in the Politics podcast. We back. I'm back. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Really? Part in the Politics podcast. Hello, world, and welcome back to Part in the Politics podcast, season 3, episode 24. I am your co-host Jeezy, and on one side of me, I have my brother Manny. Manny, what's good, brother?
Hey. We back.
We here. On the other side, we have none other than the chairman of chaos himself, brother Chuck. How are you today?
Really? We here, man. We here.
We bite. The boys are back to the podcast again, and to our listeners, welcome to another episode of Part in the Politics. We hope this episode finds you well. And
hold on, bro. How you feeling?
Sir. How you feeling, man? Yeah. Hey, bro.
Welcome back.
That's what friends are for.
The good times.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, brother.
Times.
I'm good, man. I'm glad to be back. Had some
Glad
things family wise going on with my baby girl last week. A present active dad has to, handle business every now and then, and it took me away from the pod. But I'm glad to be back. Glad baby girl's okay, and all is well, man. Sir. All is well. Blessed to be seen and not viewed, brother. So yes,
bro, always
everything.
I love it.
Everything is good, man. To our listeners, welcome. Hopefully you're doing well. We got something that happened yesterday. I had to think about when this episode was released. We had something that happened yesterday. Happy birthday to Donald John Trump. He celebrated a birthday on yesterday. I believe it's 80. 80?
80. Bon anniversaire, toi. Bon anniversaire, toi. Bon anniversaire, toi.
Oh, he big man.
You think they took him to McDonald's and let him get in the ball pit?
No, because that's what we're gonna get up looking like Grimace.
But if they took him to
Trump low key looked like the Hamburglar, but built like the Grimace, bro.
If they took him to a McDonald's place, he wouldn't be there for the burgers.
Hey, bro.
I'm just saying. That's what them files say. And that's not me saying it. That's what them files say.
The files do say that.
The files do say. The files do. The files do. So we're decent people here at the podcast. I was having some conversation with someone about the pod this past week. I'm like, hey, look, man. We try to keep it straight down the middle as best as we can, and we're decent people. I want our listeners to understand we have no ill intent towards Donald Trump. So his birthday passing just like anybody.
I do.
The chairman of chaos said, "Don't speak for me.
I speak for myself."
As for me and my house, we gonna bring that smoke.
So we're very kind people. So we would definitely like to extend a happy birthday to Donnie T. Yeah. I wanted to, they played the Stevie Wonder version. Is there like a Bruce Springsteen version? Or what kind of birthday song you listen to?
It's just the regular old plain Jane version. They just don't do the cha-cha-cha because then they get deported.
Yeah. You gotta skip the
cha-cha-cha. Who said that?
Get him out of here. Get him out of here.
Well, to jump into our first segment of the podcast, we're going to talk about the markets, the inflation, and we got Elon Musk back in the chat. So I hadn't talked about him in a while. But while Washington spent the week arguing over war and budgets and investigations, Wall Street had its own drama unfolding. Inflation is heating back up. The stock market is trying to figure out what comes next. And President Trump made a comment that rose some eyebrows this past week. And Elon Musk just crossed a financial milestone that almost sounds like it's made up. So we're going to start with this segment on inflation. The new economic data showed annual inflation rising to 4.2%, the highest level in roughly 3 years. Energy prices were the biggest drivers, and oil and gasoline costs are increasing amid tensions, which we already have spoke about, involving Iran and disruptions in the global energy market. And this marks the third consecutive month inflation has moved higher. So Trump was asked a question this past week on inflation. And I want to play this clip for you guys when he was asked this question.
Are you concerned, Mr. President, about the latest inflation number which came out this morning? Could that be a
No, I love it. The numbers look great.
You
know what I really love? I love the inflation. You know why? Because as soon as this war is over, I can say it now. Something you didn't know. We've been taking out millions of barrels of oil. Nobody knows it. You know who doesn't know about it? Iran until right now.
First of all, bruh.
What? Did he just come?
First of
is
all,
that robbery? Is that a war crime?
Hold on, bro. First of all,
man,
there's a few things to unpack here, bro. The first thing is this. Trump doesn't know how to actively listen because he was already responding. And homie hadn't even finished his question, so which he should have stopped because that got him in a pickle. Because then he says, "I love inflation," which, if you know what, I ain't gonna say it because we tired of giving people the free sauce when it comes to what they need to do, especially from a campaign perspective. But definitely gave you some material right there. And
hold on, before you go to the next one, Jeezy, and you heard the reporter say, "What is it?" Let me finish my question. Go ahead. What is it?
Yep.
No, it's like he did it like Jeopardy. Like, since you already talking, go ahead and answer the question.
I'm gonna go ahead and never mind. Here's the leash. I'm gonna put it in your mouth and let you walk yourself, so you know where you're going.
Since you got your degree and everything.
Yeah, since you know it, since you know it all, since you got your fancy degree, and you think you know everything. But then. First of all, he didn't even answer it because he said, "I love inflation." He said, "I love it because," and he said, "Wait a minute, did you know this?" And that might have been the moment he woke up when he said, "Oh, I should have said that." Then he just throws this bomb out there, this curveball that we've been stealing oil from Iran in the middle of the night.
First off,
so many questions, and so few statements.
He said that like the local crackhead just going around siphoning people's gas. Oh, you know who didn't know about it?
You. That's why you went empty.
You call your car, you're like, I know I filled up yesterday. I know where I get it. I know where I lose a quart of gas overnight. Because Donnie T been siphoning your gas out your car.
But I'm also like, how?
Bruh, how?
How?
Yes. How, like, Trump?
We are still the U.S. government. We still have the abilities, I hope, that other countries don't have. So what do you say, 100 million? That's not an insignificant amount to be taken over the course of how many days at this point? 100, approaching 100 days, if we not already passed 100 days. So I'm just like...
Raise your hand if you believe them.
In case you're listening, there are no hands in the air.
In fact, we're gonna play the new game. The new game. Speak when you hear truth from Donald Trump that you believe. We're stealing oil from Iran. I love inflation. Okay, nobody's said anything exactly.
But the thing that was funny about it, and we'll move on. But he said, "You know who just found out about it?
Iran.
Right now. Manny just told y'all that's a very significant amount of oil. Right. Can you imagine showing up and you like, now I know we had more barrels of oil than this yesterday. Like, you come point like, now I know.
It's almost like he said it like it's the classic sitcom episode where they go on vacation and he come back in and everything's missing. Oh no,
Right.
even better.
He just had the Home Alone moment where they realized that they left Kevin at home and they were sitting.
Oh no,
Where's Kevin?
Oh no, even better. They just had the situation like we did when we got back from Thanksgiving that one year at 1525.
Oh, and we got
robbed. Like,
right, it took me about 30 minutes walking around like, did we get robbed?
Right. That's what happened.
That's happened in Iran. They were like, I know we had more oil than this.
Someone was their roommate and left their window unlocked. And then boom.
Now, if Trump is telling the truth, somebody in Iran getting fired.
Oh, they getting more than fired.
No, they're not getting fired. This is Iran.
They getting fired.
I was trying to keep it light.
You're getting dismissed. Deleted.
Permanently.
Permanently. Now, Trump, the White House later argued that Trump meant that he loved that the number wasn't even worse than expected, which they probably should have just not said it. This is up there with the level of them saying, oh, he didn't mean that he was Dr. Trump, medicine Jesus. He thought he was just a regular doctor.
This says Carolina's still on maternity leave.
They suffer without Carolina.
They're just throwing anything out there.
They said, look, they done sent her 2 emails and called her little lip. When you coming back to work?
Hey,
we struggling.
If Trump were to, hypothetically, say this, how would you respond?
Bruh. She sitting at home rocking that baby saying, yep, pay increase. Yesterday's price is not today's price.
You see my words now, huh?
Mm-hmm. But critics immediately jumped on the quote because inflation was one of the issues that Trump campaigned the hardest against. So the hardest thing that you ran against, you saying that you love, not a good look. But Manny, I'll ask you this question first. If you're an administration that spent 2 years blaming inflation on your opponents, can you afford a comment like this, like, that I love inflation, even if you meant something different?
I mean, it goes back to what we were saying. It's all going to come down to the spin of it. If you're the Trump administration, and to just say, "Oh, he meant that he didn't expect it to be higher," like that's not a good way to spin it. Like if you were going to talk about that, I think then a better way to deal with this is to pivot about core inflation. And it's like, hey, y'all, we know about like the energy prices, and that's what's really driving the 4.2 year over year increase. But if you were to circle back, if you take that out and you look at the core month over month inflation, because that core inflation number that strips out energy and other high volatile pieces was 2.9. So still coming down, but it sounds a whole lot better, but you need someone to be able to mentally put together those words in an effective way to convey that message.
Yes. I'm glad you added that disclaimer at the end, because I was going to say, hey, brother, you're giving sound advice. You're giving forthright advice, but that's your brain.
Yeah, Trump ain't about to explain that.
And it just looks bad. So what? Yeah. Energy prices up 23, almost 24% over the last year. Gasoline is up 40% year over year, and fuel oil is up 58%, almost 59%. Like,
I want to argue those numbers of 58, almost 59%. Because doggone what I'm spending at the pump right now, I feel like 1,000%.
And I think still is here's the most dangerous piece of it. When we look at inflation, it's only going to get worse because we are only just now starting to feel the initial effects of food prices going up because of the cost of this. So it's going to even keep getting worse. And still, like they've said about the infrastructure, the amount of infrastructure that has been permanently destroyed and messed up because of all of this, and it's going to take years. I think CNN had an analyst on that projected that if you want below $3 gas prices like we had earlier this year, we're not going to see them again to 2032. Jeez. So there were there are far better ways to spin this, and they did not. And either that is a lack of messaging, or there's a lack of knowledge, or it's a lack of both.
I was about to say, definitely might be both. So the challenge is that inflation, for Americans, and why this matters to the average American, this challenge is that inflation isn't just some economic statistic. When inflation rises, families are feeling it. Like we've mentioned, families feel it at the gas pump. They feel it at the grocery store. When they're paying their utility bills, right? They feel that pressure. So even if wages are increasing, inflation just basically eats away at those gains. And, the Federal Reserve now finds itself in a very difficult position because higher inflation makes interest rate cuts less likely. And that's important because many Americans are hoping that rates will come down, especially if they're trying to buy a home or refinance their mortgages. So at what point do voters stop looking at who's technically responsible and just simply say, I don't care whose fault it is, things just cost too much? Can we fix it?
Well, my brother, I'll jump in here and say that's a question, or that's a thought process that's over the head of the average American. And the reason I say that is because we sit here and we're talking about inflation, and we have a monicum of understanding, being that none of us are economists, and we have a solid foundation of understanding on this. But if you go and talk to the average person, they hear the talking points of inflation.
Yeah.
They hear the campaign speeches of inflation, but they don't understand the full scope and spectrum of the impact of inflation.
Yep.
So I think they're already at the point, the civilized thinking individual.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go there and just
quantify who we're talking about.
And we have to do that because and Manny, you dropped in our group chat the other day a new breakdown of labels for the political aspects of individuals, and it was more. I looked at it at first and I was like, "What in the world?" But then as I read them, I said, you know what, this makes sense because you have your individuals who truly care about the core of what's going on. Then you have the individuals who care on a superficial level. Then you have those individuals who don't care. I'm not going to say they don't care. They don't care for the huff and the fluff.
Yeah.
They want to get to the root of the problem. And as you always say, worried about their pocket, and I'm voting with my purse and my pocket and my wallet. But then you have those individuals on the far extreme ends who, regardless of what is said, if it's not the right side or the left side saying it, I'm not going to stand beside it. And so to this, the everyday man, without the labels, without the talking points, are already at a place of just get this stuff fixed. Spending way too much money. Life is costing me way more now than it did. Forget years ago. Just last year, life is costing more.
And to add a little bit more information to what Chuck said, we've shared it on Instagram. The Washington Post did a post that there was a new study that split Americans into 9 political groups. I want to make sure I say all the names correctly. The Order and Opportunity left, the Pragmatic and Polite right, the No Apologies right, the Faith First conservatives, the Unconventional right, the Left Out left, the leftward progressives, the loyal liberals, and the tuned out middle. So,
and that tuned out is the ones I think I'm speaking more of, and it's not tuned out from what's going on in life. I'm tuned out from the rhetoric from both sides.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't care about the lies, the banter, the fights. Just get it fixed.
Fix it.
Yeah.
Just fix it. Why are we dealing with this? Why is gas prices here? Why we talked about it last week. Man, I went. Boy, this pisses me off. I was going the other day, and my wife was like, "Well, hey, babe, we got a lot going on. We're talking about going to this fan fest. Just grab some of those burger patties that we get, and we'll throw them on in real quick. Whip up a meal so we can go about our way, go to the fan fest, the watch fest for the World Cup." And I walked by, and them things was $11, almost $12 for a box. I was like, I always say just the other day. It could have been 10 years ago, but it was just
yesterday. It was yesterday.
I was like, just the other day, these was like $6-7.
Bruh.
And so when I got home, I was like, babe, I picked up brats instead because those things was almost $12. I was like, wasn't they cheaper than that? She was like, yeah, they used to be about $7. I said, okay, I thought so. $12 and legitimately, I would say probably last year, even if it's 2 years, to double it.
That's crazy.
I'm tuned out from your talking points.
Yeah.
And I think a key point on that, and I'll speak about us. All of us get to work on that grill.
Oh, yeah.
So for all of our listeners, if you have a friend that invites you over for cookout, go ahead and either queue up some cash for them or get ready to bring some sides.
Facts.
Yes, sir.
It's no longer acceptable to show up to the cookout with sodas.
With soda,
or
with
cups
plates.
and plates.
Or plates. Nah,
I have a dishwasher, and my wife has an affliction that has come over her over the years where she likes to not recycle, but change out our eatery every couple of years. So we got plenty of plates. We don't need no paper plates, no styrofoam cups. Bring some sides.
Bring some sides. Unless directed otherwise. But then, Jeezy, another point that you brought up that I think is also a turning point in this administration that came out this week is that inflation has gone up so much that it has wiped out all wage growth that has occurred in this administration. So if you got a raise last year, as of right now, nothing happened.
Means absolutely nothing.
And especially if you only got a 3% raise.
Oh, yeah. 3 or under, they did nothing for you.
Nothing for you, but waste your time.
Right. So that's
hold
one
on,
piece.
Manny.
Oh, yeah.
Before you go to the other piece,
yeah,
because you make a fantastic point there, and Jeezy kind of mentioned the crunch that it puts the Fed in. Kevin Warsh just took over.
Took over, and we know what his directive is.
Exactly. That's exactly what I thought. You know why Trump put him in place. But guess what he's in the tough pickle of doing? Running them rates up. Because realistically, the one hire that Trump has done who, I'm not going to say the one, the most qualified hire that I've seen him put forth in the nomination he put forth was Kevin Warsh, because Kevin Warsh had been a part of the Fed, as we laid out before. So he's a man who knows the job.
Yeah.
And he knows he's in a position where, I know what you want done, but my sensibility and my background and my education tells me
it ain't happening. And he's got to convince a group of people that are as smart as him that this is a good idea.
If I'm not mistaken, like we said in the previous episode, with Jerome still around the building.
Oh yeah, Jerome's still around. But here's where I'll give Kevin Warsh his flowers, because he stands on his economic principles.
Yeah.
And even when he was there before and in leaving in his criticisms of Jerome, his criticisms was based on his economic belief system. It wasn't, I don't like him because he's not doing X, Y, Z. He always provided the economic framework of his argument.
Yep.
And in that leads me to believe that he is one who is operating on those economic principles.
Kevin obviously wants to do it, but what he has at least shown up to this point, and we'll see how this plays out, that he's not going to force it if it's not aligning with what his belief structure was. Kind of like somebody else that Donald Trump appointed to be the Fed chair. and got real upset about it. So I think the other key part is inflation being under 3% still means prices are going up. And I feel like that, inflation was 2.9%. Okay, not as bad. But guess what? Prices all went up 2.9%. Until you see a negative number, prices are going up.
And what hasn't fully been talked about is the jobs numbers. And those job numbers are coming back, I'm not going to say strong, but stronger than expected.
But I think there's an asterisk around all that.
It is, very much so. Mm-hmm. But what strong job numbers do to inflation is push it up. Mm-hmm. Because guess what? What strong job numbers should, in theory, strong job numbers say people are employed, means people get paychecks,
got money to spend.
Means people spend money. And when you spend money, you generally have higher demand, lower supply. And when you have higher demand and lower supply, prices go up.
I feel like I heard that before in basic economics class.
I believe so.
But most people fell asleep. I told y'all. What did my post say? What did my post say? All these people on Facebook talk about economics and they ain't get at least a C.
If you ain't get a C, you need to be quiet.
Did Schoolhouse Rock do an entire episode on supply and demand? Because you know what? We need Schoolhouse Rock back.
We were a proper people.
When a little cartoon piece of paper rolled up, bounced around on our TV screen, telling us, educating us, and informing us about the basic aspects of life, government, and economics.
We're proper people, brother.
Yes, sir.
My, how far we have strayed. Now, here's where the story gets complicated. Despite inflation concerns, Wall Street has remained surprisingly resilient. Markets have been bouncing around between fears of higher inflation and optimism surrounding artificial intelligence, corporate earnings, and continued economic growth. And some major indexes have continued pushing towards record territory, while investors are also watching the Federal Reserve closely for any signal about future interest rates. And the market is essentially asking one question: is this inflation temporary, or is it the beginning of another sustained climb? Because if inflation keeps rising, borrowing costs stay higher, and that puts pressure on both consumers and corporations, as our brother Chuck has already told you. So, Manny, do you think Wall Street has become disconnected from Main Street? Because you can have a family struggling with grocery prices while investors are celebrating another strong week in the market. Is there this disconnect?
I think it is a disconnect because I don't believe the stock market represents the true economy. Like the amount of people who are directly invested in the stock market, if you take out the 401ks, very low. Very low. Yep. Even if you add in the 401ks, I think it maybe gets to 40, maybe gets close to 50%. Most people are not invested in the stock market. But I think
even those in the 401k, man, 80% of them don't even know what they're doing or what is even going on with their 401k. That's it, just vibing.
And I think here's why I think it's important to have elected officials that can relate to the public at large. Because from my standpoint, my view of it, you talk about these issues in relation to your experience with them.
True.
And Trump has always been rich. I won't say he's always. No, his dad is rich.
Yes,
Trump has always been rich.
If you Google Trump, his Wikipedia page, the first thing it says, born into a wealthy family from New York.
So when you've always been rich, your views of the economy and how it's impacting you are shaped by that.
Yes.
So if you have a bunch of money, getting a Big Mac when it was $2 and getting it now when it's approaching $9, $10 still is not going to really register to you because you've had that amount of wealth. So we talk about the economy using data points that are to those who are wealthy, not the actual reality. So that's piece one. And I think piece two is I feel like the stock market only looks good. And I'll say this is not investment advice. That
this is for informational purposes.
Informational and entertainment purposes only. Now that we got that out the way, if you look at the market, some of the other industries are not doing well. Like a lot of the positivity that we're seeing in the market is coming out of tech and largely even more specifically AI. So is the market actually doing that good? I don't know. But when you conflate the two together, it doesn't give you a good and accurate representation of what's happening and how people need to deal with this. Oh, the stock market's at 50,000. What does that mean for the fact that I just paid? Right. I just paid $70 to fill my car when it used to cost me $30. Being able to have those common conversations becomes harder.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Yeah.
I agree 1,000,000%, brother. Quite honestly, the individual who works on Wall Street, not the help on Wall Street, the individual who works on Wall Street can't relate to the common family.
Right.
The circles they run in, the amount of money they deal with, the amount of money they make is well above the average American. Mm-hmm. And as Manny said, the stock market has been running up for years now. Yeah. We've talked about a correction with the markets before. And again, the average family has no idea what the correction would mean. All they hear are the talking points that are put forth by the news stations, the politicians, the analysts, the podcasters. That's what they know. And it's no slight or knock to them. Some of this stuff, if you have not allocated the time to be able to sit down and fully engulf yourself to understand, is like speaking another language to them.
Yeah.
All I see, the Dow Jones, the stock market went up. Okay. It's up 50,000 points. Meaning what? Mm-hmm. Or my favorite to hear from someone, well, how do I get in the stock market? As if it's some back room or speakeasy that I need an invitation. Right. And that, like I said, there's no slight to anybody. It just speaks to the disillusion of those sitting high, looking low, that will say, well, the economy is doing well because the market is up. No, the economy is not doing well because the average American can't go to the grocery store and see the true value in spending $100 and they're leaving out with 3 bags. I went to one of my real quick, Manny.
Yeah, no.
I went to one of my family's favorite spots. Just last night, and bought everybody food. And my family of 4, what normally would cost us $55 cost me $92 last night.
Yeah.
$92 for 3 po' boys, fries, and a shrimp basket. Because they've gone up on price.
Yeah.
They've gone up on their prices because things are costing them more money.
Things are costing them more money. There's the jobs part of it is what I think there were about 97,000 U.S. jobs announced in May 2026. So just recently. So it's the third monthly rise. But now we're starting to see more cuts. And the cuts, one of the leading reasons, so
Yeah,
is
I'm glad you
AI.
said.
Is AI. Yep. So, and either the reason is AI. So Andy Challenger came out and said AI is now the leading reasons companies give for cutting jobs. And the primary industry citing is it's in technology. And then Daniel Zhao, chief economic, God, why can I not say that word? He know the economy. He's the chief of knowing the economy for Glassdoor. So he said a company can say AI is why we're doing layoffs, but that doesn't necessarily mean that's actually why. So we have companies who are cutting jobs, and it's really not because of AI, because they haven't gotten their processes better. It's not because they're being more efficient. It's because they're probably doing bad, but publicly it makes them look good. Say, hey, we're bringing in AI, and that's really going to help advance us, and it's not. So now you have, and it becomes like a vicious cycle.
Or they reported profits previously, and they know that they're doing bad. So let's try to get ahead of this and keep that bottom line black instead of red.
Yep.
To continue to deceive investors.
Yep.
Watch this callback to keep the stock price high.
Yep.
To make the market look good.
We have 3 things that are converging all at the same time. The Iran war reigniting, because who knows what happens with that. The AI bubble allegedly could deflate at any moment. And the Fed could potentially just turn hawkish if inflation caused by the Iran war and the AI layoffs really start ramping up. Like, all of these things are moving and could potentially happen at the same time. And if all of them do happen at the same time, what's anyone going to be able to do?
Cry.
Yeah. Yep. That's it.
But to bring it back to the beginning, what started this segment off, and I'm glad you said that, Manny, about the Iran war. Hey, Trump, you can't blame this on Sleepy Joe.
It's been a year plus.
You're running these numbers up, buddy. And a lot of this inflationary action is based off the uncertainty that is going on overseas. And as we've seen time and time again, as we move closer to what we may think is a semblance of a peace deal, things start to calm. Oil prices start to come down. The markets start to respond accordingly. And just as soon as your little homie, old Netanyahu, start acting stupid because you got in bed with him to get this mess going, it hits the reverse every time.
Every time.
And those jobs numbers that you was talking about, Manny, it's funny because I don't trust those numbers either because unemployment stayed still.
Yep.
It did not move. Didn't go up, didn't go down. And you would think conventional wisdom would tell me if we had consecutive months of job growth, unemployment should move in the direction that is more favorable to your messaging.
Yep.
But it hasn't moved. And something ain't right. And these companies are announcing cuts and layoffs left and right. And the funny thing, what the crazy thing is, all of them are not effective immediately. They're a month or so down the line. So when all of these come to a head and we tally up all these numbers, it's not gonna be a pretty sight.
Sounds like a cold winter, brother. Well, I want to move on in this topic and bring up a name that we haven't talked about in a while, and that is Elon Musk. This week, Elon Musk reportedly crossed the $1 trillion mark in net worth, driven largely by the explosive valuation of his companies, particularly SpaceX. SpaceX public debut valued the company at roughly $2.1 trillion, making it one of the most valuable companies on the planet almost overnight. And when you think about that for a second, it's pretty crazy because most people struggle to even visualize $1 billion. Most people have never even seen $1 million, let alone thinking of $1 billion. That's wealth on a scale that's for most is difficult to comprehend. So when you think about that, go ahead, Manny. Were you about to say something?
Yeah, and to think of the scale, like, if you're next time I coach a sports team, I'm going to tell them I want them to run up the score like Elon Musk, because the gap between Elon and the number 2 person on the world's wealthiest list is larger than the gap from the number 2 person to us. It is larger than the gap.
I was going to say pause on that, but it's June.
Yeah,
No, the gap is good.
Now what he talking about 2 million?
You're right. I was, where my mind went, and it won't 2 million.
But when you think about
it's a lot
the
of
scale
money.
of that, I mean that is a lot of money, man. I mean, and especially to what Chuck had said earlier, for those Americans that are struggling, when you hear that an individual has that amount of wealth, right? And you're sitting here and you're doing the best you can to rub 2 pennies together. I mean, the disconnect, you just, most can't comprehend, let alone even understand how in the world can someone have that amount of wealth. But then we as the common Americans or most Americans are struggling just to fill the tank, just to fill. I was at the pump the other day and I seen a video on social media that I laughed at it, but because it was funny in the social media clip. But then I just happened to be at the gas station filling up my wife's car, and I looked at the pump, bro, and somebody put in like $3.11, and I was sitting there like, bro, that's literally a gallon of gas, bro.
Just to get by.
That's just about a gallon, and I'm sitting there like, the reality of that is like, that wasn't something that, I just, I don't like my tank not being on full, so I just put another 3 to get it. No, like somebody was like, look, this is just enough to get me to maybe home,
yes, sir,
get something to eat and get back home, and then I gotta wait a few days till either my check come in or I get some more money. That is a reality for a lot of people. And when you hear somebody with the magnitude of wealth like Elon Musk, I mean, I can only imagine that can't make you feel good as an American, knowing that amount of wealth is even out there and can't even be comprehended. But when you think about Elon in this, are we witnessing one of the greatest business success stories in modern history, or should people be concerned about that much economic power being concentrated into one individual? I'll ask you to start with you, Chuck.
Well, my good brother, I'm not sure you had a chance to listen to last week's episode because my spotlight was on the SpaceX IPO.
Mm-hmm.
And although I did not specifically single out Elon Musk and the potential wealth of this, yes, this was encompassed in that.
Hey,
yeah, double entendre. Don't even ask me how. But to answer your question first, before I go on a diatribe, yeah, you should be concerned. You should be concerned because of the makeup and character of the individual who has all this wealth and all this power. And I can say that based off of what he has shown us. Mm-hmm. No, I don't know him personally. I've only seen this man from afar. Mm-hmm. But everything that he has shown me has shown that he, number one, is not to be trusted. Number two, does not care for anyone other than himself. Mm-hmm. You can see that in his interaction with the mother of his children.
Bro, yes.
So when I say this, it wasn't shocking to me. I did that as my spotlight for a reason, because there was a lot of talk about this IPO. And I knew it would go above and beyond what was projected, because nobody projected $250 billion of public, I can't even talk, funding that was raised off of $75 billion. Nobody expected that much. Nobody could have predicted that much.
19% is wild for a one-day pop.
Yes, for a one-day pop. Nobody can predict that. But in this, I want us to realize this is on paper. This is not actualized wealth. And I say that because a lot of this wealth is tied to the price of the stock. And as I told y'all last week, he holds 85% voting power, meaning he carries the single largest portion of stock ownership, and he carries the decision-making power of this. And he's trying to leverage this SpaceX stock on the back of XAI. Well, it's on the back of Starlink, but he's betting on XAI is what he's betting on, because the AI race is up. And people can say, oh, but Starlink is the only one that's profitable right now. Yeah, because there was an influx of users and the different deals that he's made. But what people don't realize is the foundation of SpaceX is based off government contracts. So in the next couple of years, Trump had already threatened this, but piss Trump off and they pull their contracts. What happens to that stock valuation?
Or just national priority shift.
Artemis.
We no longer really want to focus on Artemis and going to the moon and Mars. We've already seen the pivot away from Mars very quietly.
No, that wasn't quiet. That was it was loud, but it's so much other stuff that's going on.
Yep. True.
that it's kind of like being at a basketball game and you're yelling to the top of your lungs, but they're blaring the Just Dance song over the PA system, so nobody hears.
Ain't no one hear you.
Or they're blowing a whistle and the crowd is so raucous that they can't hear it. But in this company's foundation is based off of government contracts. Let something happen. I mean, and this is with any company, but it's more of a fragile state when the majority of your money that you're bringing in is essentially majority of your eggs is in one basket.
Yeah.
And if that basket unravels or has a hole in it,
boy,
you're going to be scrambling to pick your eggs up.
Well, and I think the other part about the IPO, we talk about Elon, but there were about 4,000 other people that had a fantastic Friday becoming millionaires.
Listen, I told in the spotlight, there's going to be a bunch of money made. A ton of money. There's still money to be made. But you have to be careful. You have to understand what you're doing in that. But to the nature of what we're looking at with this IPO, Manny just said, the glamour of AI, the luster is starting to dull a little bit because some costs are running up. People are getting sick and tired of the negative environmental impacts that are happening to their communities with these data centers. These governments are being put to these local governments are being put to the fire by their constituents over these data center deals. And now these companies are scrambling, trying to figure out how to move forward. And
how am I going to get this?
Get into the
How am I going to get this billions of dollars of investments for something that's going to be obsolete as soon as I build it?
Yeah, brother. It's no different than the computer.
Yeah.
When I was growing up, the computers were right before when I was born in early years, the computers were the size of a room. As I got into school, they got much smaller, but they were huge. They took up the whole desk.
Yep.
Now we hold a computer in our hand. Some people have a computer around their face and glasses.
With more processing power than what we included in the original Apollo missions that went to the moon.
Yes.
Allegedly.
So
I knew it was coming.
But you could let that one slide.
So with that, like Manny said, these data centers will be obsolete in not even 5 years. So now you have this big shell of a building that they can't even use. They're not using anymore. Yep. And a lot of them will be abandoned. Yep. And because what I love to hear in their marketing pitch is, all the money we can bring in the area, all the jobs. Well, when the construction is over and these are unmanned data centers,
got 12 people in there.
You got 1 million square feet building, 12 people in it who are on a 2-shift rotation. What jobs? Because now this building is over.
Well, and I think the other piece about the IPO that was so interesting is that if you just take the general news about the market based on Friday, a lot of the conversation was just about space. Sorry, the name slipped ahead. SpaceX.
And that's what drove the market on Friday.
Well,
because the beginning of the week, real quick, the beginning of the week it was down, and the chip sector fell almost 20% in 2 days.
Yeah, and the bleeding continued. The Dow on Friday lost almost 700 points. The S&P was down 2.6, and the NASDAQ was down 4%. But if you just look at the reporting was just largely about SpaceX and its IPO. And if you think that the value of the stock market is this single stock, then you just missed. You just missed the fact that this Friday was the worst single day since April 2025 when we had the original tariff fallout. So are things healthy? No. Is it healthy for someone to be a trillionaire? I mean,
there's people who argue against billionaires.
Right.
Yeah.
So what I'm expecting to happen is that the conversation will likely intensify around what do we do? They're going to figure out a way to eventually tax unrealized gain loss. There's too much conversation and the numbers are getting too big for the conversation not to become more materialized over the next couple of years.
Man,
but then it comes back to what you're doing with it.
I'm going to have to give you some pushback on that. The way these. And the only reason I'm giving pushback right now is because we don't have any true laws or regulations against the insider trading that these jokers are doing in Congress.
Yeah.
Now, if we had some kind of regulatory guidelines going on about their trading habits and trading behaviors, I'd agree with you 1,000%.
Yep.
Because what they're not going to do is allow you to run up the score and them not
them not running the
participating.
score too.
Exactly. But while they're running up the score right now, yeah.
I mean, to put in perspective for you guys at home, there are only 19 countries that have GDPs that surpass 1 trillion.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I
Crazy
think
money.
it is a definitely crazy amount. So to tie all this together and to bring it all together, on one side, Americans are hearing inflation is back above 4%. Gas prices are climbing. And from what it looks like, and if Kevin sticks to his economic morals, the Feds may be keeping rates higher for longer. But on the other side, stock market remains strong. AI investments continue pouring in, and Elon Musk has become the first person to reach a level of wealth that some would say sounds like science fiction 20 years ago. So the real debate isn't whether the economy is good or bad. It's for whom. Who is it good or bad for? Because if you're heavily invested in the market, this economy may look pretty good to you. But if you're just trying to afford groceries, afford rent, fill up your gas tank, you may be wondering what everyone on Wall Street is actually celebrating for. So to round this segment up, I'll ask this to both of you. When historians look back on this period, and you can define this period in your response, do they describe it as an economic boom or as an era where the gains were increasingly concentrated at the top while average Americans struggled to keep up? And I'll go with you starting first, Manny.
I think it's going to depend. What is the reaction to this? They say the decision is easy to make. Living through the consequences of that decision is hard. And a lot of it's going to boil down to what is the reaction? Because usually if times are good for everybody, you kind of can get away with a whole lot more. Times are not good, or at least as good as they had been. So what is the reaction to this? Now that we have a trillionaire, now that we have booming markets for the rich, what is the reaction to this? And I think that is going to be what historians really dig into. And at this point, I don't know. But what I do know is that we have an election in a couple months. And there's likely to be a reaction that we see at the ballot box.
Well, my answer is the top stay rich. The top keeps the lower half from getting rich. And I say that, and I'll take this era back to, we'll call it the Trump era. And being that his
Trump era like 16 or Trump era?
I'm bringing it. I'm saying in this era, his first administration sandwiching Joe Biden in this last administration as the historians, because honestly, it's going to be they are tied together forever.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Be it from a carryover from the Obama administration into Joe Biden being in between the Trump administrations, they're forever tied together. So I'll take the era as historians will look back from the Trump era. Probably, yeah, I'll say the beginning of the administration to the end, even though we're not there yet. And I say that because that the rich will continue to do whatever they can to keep the bottom half from getting rich. Let's take it back to COVID. The COVID period and right after COVID. As we stated before, there are not many people everyday man who is in the stock market or what they would be called the retail investor. But there was a period or an event, a series of events with the GameStop and AMC stocks. Mm-hmm. And the everyday man was it via Reddit? One of those forums where
Oh, it was Reddit.
it was Reddit.
Wall Street Bets.
Yes, Wall Street Bets and Reddit. And the common individual was able to get some instruction. They didn't know what they were doing on a day-to-day basis, but they got some common instruction and jumped in, and there were plenty of people who made a lot of money. Some people became millionaires. Some people made thousands of dollars. Yours truly made a couple $1,000s. but I say that to say, just as soon as the common man used the tricks, trades, and little maneuvering that the big boys have been using for eons in the stock market to manipulate pricing, to manipulate the fluctuation in a particular stock price, they did everything they could in their power to quell that. They stopped certain houses from allowing you to trade and sell. They did what they could to impede individuals from going through to manipulate stocks. And for me, it was very hypocritical because y'all do it often. We've just seen it recently where nobody's going to admit to it in the administration, but just as soon as somebody from the White House mentioned something, within minutes, in some instances, a stock is impacted by those words. And guess what? There were individuals who got rich. Or somebody said something and somebody pulled money out of the market, sold off, and that stock was negatively impacted. And a lot of people lost money. Again, the higher ups, they don't want you as the everyday person doing. It's a very much so do as I say, don't do as I do. And sadly, we as a country perpetuate the notion of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And you can go after all of those things as long as it ain't a piece of my pie.
Yep.
Tragic.
Absolutely.
It's tragic, man. So, with that being said, that is our coverage and way to end it off, Chuck, with your rebuttal, giving us that closure on that segment because it's real. It's a reality. And unfortunately, as a Childish Gambino song says, this is America. So don't catch you slipping up. Well, on to our next segment. We have some more news going on. There's some drama going on, which shouldn't surprise anybody. But we have some drama going.
No, not this administration. No.
We got some drama going on, and that drama brings us to the DNI. They got some drama going on. One of the biggest stories have been flying under the radar this week, and that story isn't happening on the battlefield or in the economy like we just spoke about in the prior segment, but it's happening inside our intelligence community. President Trump has nominated a new director of national intelligence. As you guys know, we spoke on the podcast that Tulsi has resigned. Congress is in a deadlock, and one of the government's most powerful surveillance tools is now expired. And somehow all of these things are connected and happening within the same week, which is wild. So after significant bipartisan backlash over Trump's decision to install Bill Pulte as acting director of national intelligence, the White House pivoted and nominated Jay Clayton to become the permanent DNI. Now, I want to say this, and at the time of this recording, of course, you know that one thing that Trump has better than anybody is he has Twitter fingers, and he constantly will tweet or put truths. And literally at the 5 minutes before us starting the segment, he tweeted out about Pulte, Bill Pulte, and he said, "What are Democrats scared of? which is funny to me because it was bipartisan backlash on him in the first place. It wasn't just Democrats, it was Republicans. But he said he didn't understand why there was so much push. He's just the acting director. He wasn't going to be permanent, but he, on his birthday, complaining about the one that he already has taken out of the hat and put in Jay Clayton. But for Clayton isn't a traditional intelligence official, which shouldn't surprise any of us when it comes to a pick. Most people know him as Trump's former SEC chairman and most recently as the U.S. attorney to the Southern District of New York. But unlike Pulte, he brings extensive government experience and has already received praise from some Democrats and Republicans who viewed Pulte's appointment as a step too far. The first question I ask on this before we dive any further to you, Manny, is that do you think that this nomination is really about putting the most qualified person in the job, or is it the White House trying to put out a political fire after the backlash they received from Pulte?
Hold on, Manny, before you go, I'm gonna pat you on your back from last week. Gonna pat you on your back. You ain't got to strain your elbow. I'm gonna pat you on your back. Go ahead, brother. Go ahead. That's all I had to say.
You know, again, this show is for entertainment purposes only, while based on real events. We be right a whole lot of the time.
A whole heap of the time.
We be right a whole. Bro. And to see this play out in almost to the T, of how I said it was going to play out,
facts
was chef's kiss. I was like, oh yeah, I'm kind of good at this. Because who are we not talking about right now? Mm-hmm. Not talking about Todd Blanche.
Nope.
Pulte did the job he was supposed to do in distracting away. To well, at least Blanche is an attorney, so he is adequate for this role. Yeah. This guy, Pulte, I don't know what he's doing. And here's the thing. It cost them nothing.
Nothing.
It cost Pulte nothing to just have his name floated out there for him to still take the heat. Because guess what? He's still over on the federal housing.
Yep.
He did not step down. Still got his old job. This man went on the interview.
He is.
Right. Yep. He went on an interview, thought it was going well, got to that second interview, did not go well, did not get the job, and he's like, well, guess I'll go back to my regular 9 to 5.
Yep.
And it cost him nothing. He got the media bump, got the name ID, and got the attention off of Blanche. And
bingo.
We said that this was going to happen. This was going to be the play. And here we are. So is some of this the White House backpedaling? If there was the backlash, if there wasn't the backlash that we saw, would Pulte be going forward? I think absolutely 100%.
Yeah.
But it doesn't. And here we are. Now they get to put another person, and admittedly had not done deep research into him. But what I do know too is that Clayton signed and oversaw the indictment of Nike fitted Maduro.
Yep.
So again, somebody else who has delivered for Trump.
Definitely a loyalist.
Yeah. And, people should probably be a little bit concerned about that. And by a little bit, I mean a lot bit.
Yeah. I definitely thought, especially coming from Tulsi, I think that, while certainly there was a lot of question around Tulsi and the role, I think that people felt that for the most part she would stay straight to line. She wouldn't get too crazy, and certainly wouldn't do anything, that would basically be bending the knee to Trump. She operate within her capacity. I don't get that feeling with Clayton at all. And for him to be the director of national intelligence and some of the things that he's done already, I don't know.
There's still questions about his feasibility, but the questions weren't as loud as Pulte's questions.
Sure.
For sure.
And to an interesting piece that I think it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. He's one of the ones that sanctioned Elon Musk.
Yep.
So how long is Elon's memory, and how does that play in? I think this will be interesting. But I think by and large, this did exactly what the administration intended for it to do: to get the heat off of Blanche, get everyone focused on somewhere else, so they could get Blanche through.
Yeah, I agree 1,000%. I am shocked that the play happened this fast.
Yes, so fast.
And I think part of that is something we'll talk about in just a moment here. So, I won't bury the lead, as they say in the journalist space, even though I'm not a journalist. But one thing that I think helps Clayton and not receive as much backlash is the renowned nature that the Southern District has in all spaces, because they are one of those prosecutorial districts that is very revered.
Yep.
Like you say, the U.S.
Southern District
of New York is coming up against you. Hey,
You already know.
You got problems. You got problems.
You got issues on your hands, and if your name ain't John Gotti, I don't know if you.
I hope you paid your taxes.
So that gives him, and I think that's where some of the fire has turned down versus when Pulte was thrown out there. But like you said, there are still questions. There are very significant questions that should be raised, and my apprehension is who's going to raise them, because it was easy to see who would come forth and give the pushback on Pulte. Those individuals started making statements and jumping out the window with this. As we said, he led the indictment on Maduro. Okay, a lot of those individuals who would speak out against this on one side is going to be hush mouth. You got one of our enemies, air quotations.
Yep.
Then he was the SEC chair. Again, what does that have to do with the price of tea in Boston when it comes to national intelligence? Like, really, what is it?
Yeah,
it has nothing to do with.
That's like me, and actually, it's probably even better. That's like me applying for the NHL general manager job and saying, "I know, but if you look as my history as a GM on Madden,
oh Lord,
I'm a beast. I'm a beast. So I can definitely do this,
Bruh.
It's not even the same sport. What are you doing?
Not even the same sport. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this goes forth. But as my good brother said, and as was brought up last week, the real annexation of Puerto Rico was getting that heat off Ty Blanche and letting that move forward. So all I got to say is wait and see.
Well, I think one part of this story that gets very interesting is that the fight over who runs America's intelligence agencies became so intense that it derailed efforts to renew Section 702 FISA, the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, for those of you who don't know. Lawmakers from both sides and both parties argue that they weren't comfortable extending such a powerful surveillance authority while leadership at the DNI remained uncertain. Now, several lawmakers openly said they wanted clarity on the DNI situation before moving forward with reauthorization. What started as a personnel dispute has now become a national security dispute. So when you look at that, think about that for a second. One appointment effectively stalls a major intelligence program. Now, I'm going to ask this question to you, Chuck, because you are our chairman of chaos when it comes to certainly Congress. So does that show that Congress is doing its oversight job, or does it show politics is now overriding national security?
I don't think national security has ever made. Let me say that again. National security was never a top priority to politicians. Never. Because if that was the case, after years of things coming out, we would have never had 9/11. There are reports that they had intelligence information about different aspects of different things going on, and they sat on their hands. That's a familiar sign. So in this, if the executive branch, legislative branch truly cared about national security, they would put only the qualified individuals who had experience, understanding, and wherewithal in these top positions. You would not give the homeboy discount. You would not give the buddy pass.
Bruh.
Like if we want to be very serious about this, why not have someone who is overqualified if that's really a thing? I want someone who has experienced XYZ. I want someone who understands the back channels of espionage. I want someone who understands foreign relations.
Yeah.
Not somebody who can issue a fine against a company because they were misleading in their stock price. Not someone who's going to bring charges up on someone based off the evidence gathered by a group of individuals. I want someone who understands the language of the role in the environment. I don't want my plumber coming to my house to fix my fuse box.
Yep.
What is he going to
all.
do? And that's what this is. And too many times before, like we said, Tulsi at least she had been in those spaces.
Yep.
She had a foundation and understanding. Was she the most qualified? I'm not going to speak to that. I don't know. I'm not one. This is not one of my strong suits. This area is not one of my strong suits to give a critique of she was the most qualified. But I know she had some background on her resume to say that she had some competency. Now I do have an individual in my circle who I could reach out to and get their opinion on that, and then I would trust their word because I know their background. But what I do know, and the good common sense that the good Lord gave me, can tell me that an SEC chair and a prosecutor is not the best pick for national intelligence or
Not at all.
I mean, especially
social
not,
media.
Especially not when we're in conflicts.
In the thick of a conflict.
Bro, why do we always pick the least qualified people when we in the thickest of the
The
mess?
thick of it.
Why is Jared Kushner over there negotiating a peace deal?
Bruh. Why?
You saw the peace he
Why?
brought to Albania.
Bruh.
Bruh.
Like, but that's where I am on. Like, you can't tell me you perfect campaign. America first.
Yep.
This is not America first.
Can't
Well,
be.
no, I think it is. It is America first.
Oh, okay.
Who's America?
Aha.
Good point, brother.
Aha. Where's the spoon?
Like, let's get over
right.
this.
You're right.
This like in allness of America and we are so great. No, we do bad things. We do bad things a lot.
Bro,
And
they
I
said
think
burn it all down, bro.
Yeah, like we do bad things. Look back to the start of the war with Iran. It started with the U.S. striking a school and killing children. Like we love to romanticize who and what America is, and
Hold
until
on,
we
brother.
this,
Hold on, bro.
oh,
I agree 1,000%. We do bad things. We do terrible things. Some of those terrible things I actually agree with.
also true. Also true.
However, I truly believe that bombing was a direct result of the incompetency that has been shown forth in this administration and the mismanagement of those individuals higher up. And again, to speaking to the point that I was saying earlier about putting people who has some understanding of what's going on around them.
Yep.
Now, bombing, this is going to sound bad. Hey, it is what it is. There are civilian casualties in war.
There are.
And certain strikes happen. Sometimes they're accidents. Sometimes whatever. I get my information from the New York Times on what I'm about to say next, but there are reports that this was a military installation or some kind of military outset prior to it being a school. And
so old intel.
And old intel and people not refreshing the intel that they had. And so the structure was still the same, but there was paintings, to make it look like it looked like a school on the ground. But when you're operating on bad information because you have incompetencies coming from the above on down, you have that result.
Yeah.
But yeah, now, and the only reason I cut you off was to say that.
I think that's fair
point,
clarification.
But I do agree, we do bad things. Trust me, I am not the one waving the flag, leading the Olympians out to light the torch.
You ain't lighting the torch.
It is not me. In fact, the other day when I was at the Wash Fest, they were chanting USA, and I was happy that the team was winning. But the way things are rocking right now, you're not going to get me to chant USA.
Nah.
No.
Well, I think that... Go ahead, Manny.
No, so I think it's a rough position. But we also, if we want things to get better, we have to take an honest assessment of who we are, who we have in places in power, and where we need to improve.
Agreed.
But having that honest conversation also means that you got to admit that we've not made the best decisions in certain places. And not to say all of our decisions have been bad. Not in the 250 years of America, all America's done has been horrible. That's absolutely not what I'm saying. But we get things wrong. And to Chuck, to your point, if we're not going to care about national intelligence, if as a leader, intelligence and that is not a concern of you, it becomes of the utmost importance that you have competent individuals running that organization so you can put it to set it and forget it.
Yep.
And if you look back at FISA, this came out of 9/11. And
oh boy.
The conversation that we're now having about FISA is some of the same conversations that we had after 9/11. To what level is the American public willing to sacrifice their liberties for their safety? Because one of the things that 702 does, it allows warrantless collection on foreign targets about U.S. systems. But because of the state of that, it sweeps up Americans as well, having those conversations with them. It's called the backdoor loophole. So 702 is also a major piece of the president's daily intelligence briefing. Now, whether he reads them or not, completely different circumstance. But again, like I said, last week, this is a major tool that our government uses for our national security. Again, not defending it. But what is the response? Because if you've had this, again, same analogy I used last week I'll use here. If all you've had for all this time is a hammer, what is your reaction when that hammer is taken away and you see all these nails? One could also argue that we were using a hammer in situations where we needed a screwdriver. But if your only tool is the hammer, and you take that away, how are you now going to do your job? So, I mean, the House left town until the 23rd. So I think we're probably seeing weeks of this not being addressed.
And I think that's dangerous because, good point for you, Manny, that for our listeners that you pointed out what that 702 is, because it does collect that information without having to have that warrant. But also there's a collection of Americans' communication that comes in without a traditional warrant. And now you have, Congress failed to pass an extension before the deadline. So it's lapsed, and like Manny said, you're going to weeks, it could be, or longer, depending on how long the confirmation takes and where we get with Clayton. And how that all unfolds. But, the House rejected the last-minute extension effort, leaving the intelligence agency without new authority moving forward. Now, the intelligence officials have said that existing certifications allow some operations to still continue temporarily. So this isn't, with this lapse, it isn't an immediate lights-out situation or moment. But the longer that Congress waits for this, the more national security officials warn that there could be gaps in intelligence collection, which, Manny pointed out when this came about with, after 9/11, what potentially could we be losing out on, or even in the middle of, a war right now with Iran that hasn't at the moment of this recording ended. What intel are we receiving? What new intel or lack thereof that we're not getting?
If you remember, a little while back they canceled that Taylor Swift concert because of a plot. They credit 702 with helping get that information together to stop that. Again, we're straight up here on the pod. Like, what is this trade-off we're willing to make? Are there other ways to do the job? Probably. How do you separate Americans out from these situations? Should you separate Americans out?
Yeah.
Don't know.
Well, as a black man, I've never had my liberties in this country. I've been surveilled every day in this country. So to your question, Manny, what are you willing to give up?
What haven't?
What did I have to give up?
Facts.
What is like for me, that is the conundrum that I stand in, because yes, I want the country to be safe. I see what happens, and let's understand that part of this is propaganda of what you see on the news and what happens in other countries. But there's also a realized and actualized aspect in many countries. They are running for their lives every day, every single day. So I don't want to minimalize that aspect, but what are you protecting me from? because the same people that I'm supposed to entrust to protect me just held a vote to strip my rights and strip the ability to protect my right to give my civic duty of voting just to protect their self-interest. You know, you set systematic measures in place to disenfranchise your own people.
Yep.
The president is running around talking about birthright citizenship. But I wonder if he wants to snatch birthright citizenship from my man, his name just left me, on the U.S. national soccer team who scored 2 goals against Paraguay, who was only born in America, I'll say by accident, but because a security official delayed his mother from getting on the plane, so he was born in Brooklyn. Him being in America for this World Cup is only the 3rd time he's ever been in America. The first time was when he was born. The second time is when he played here for the Gold Cup. The third time is when he played in the World Cup. Grew up in England. So y'all cheer for that. Cheer for him because he has on the Stars and Stripes, because it's a personal benefit of yours to enjoy the spectacle of the USA winning. Like, where do I get to enjoy and reap the fruit of this country in regards to these civil protections? Now, don't get it twisted, listeners. I love being an American. I love
absolutely
what comes with being here. I've traveled abroad, not just never mind. I've been to other countries. I've seen how other people live, and I'm not talking about to the Bahamas on a cruise either. I'm talking on a flight several hours to other countries. So I understand this, but at the same time, if I am an American, why can I not enjoy the fruits and benefits of being an American that all Americans want to receive? And there's only a segment of America who truly benefits from, Section 702.
Yeah.
Because one issue that has many activist groups have brought up is the government going to these telecommunication companies asking for records for Americans in the name of national security. But there's nothing foundational that they can present as to why. Because, again, we talk about these warrantless
data collection, arrests.
Yeah. And this request for this information, if they had substantial info, they would have a warrant for Americans. They wouldn't just run to a Google or an Apple or a T-Mobile or AT&T asking for your records. They could subpoena them. And guess what? At that point, they have no choice but to give them up.
Yep.
So, excuse me. And me not being anti-America, it's me being real America. Because, and it's not even a black-white thing, because the white guy who's making $35,000 a year, he got the same issue.
Same problems, man. Same problems.
The same issue. So this is me speaking for the underprivileged, and this is not about poverty. This is underprivileged when you're not a part of the elite group. The elite select few who get to benefit from people trying to circumvent and bend the rules for their, I didn't even say gain, just for their sake of getting around the structure.
Yep.
Again, here it is, checks and balances. That's put in place.
Yep.
Well, I think when you sum all this up, Congress finds himself in a bit of a pickle. They need a surveillance program many national security experts consider essential. But they also have a growing concern about the privacy and the growing distrust over who is running that intelligence apparatus. And the nomination of Jay Clayton may calm some nerves on Capitol Hill, but the bigger fight isn't over who sits in the D&I chair. The bigger fight is over how much power the government should have to monitor communications in the name of national security. And to be honest, just even from this segment that we're covering, I think it's pretty clear to see that debate isn't going anywhere anytime soon. So it'll be very interesting to see how long this lapse will last, how the confirmation of Jay Clayton will go. And how that plays into delaying that Section 702 even further. And I mean, even think about the implications. What if Jay doesn't make the nomination and they have to go back, and Trump has to go back to the drawing board for another pick? Which would probably, if Congress is already saying they want this D&I cleared up of who's going to be running this before they agree to reauthorization. I mean, we could be talking about going from weeks to months. And
to months at this point, yeah.
And the lack of intel and what could possibly be going on that we won't be privy to is very concerning, to say the least. So be very interesting to see how this plays out. So that's our coverage of the D&I brothers. Anything else on D&I, Jay Clayton, Section 702?
I just want to say when you first brought up 702, immediately I thought, where my girls at? That was one. Hey, 702. I like your stilo. They had some jams, bro. They had some jams.
It definitely had some. Shout out 702. Shout out to the 702, wherever that's at. I don't know where that's at. Where's 702 at?
Isn't that Vegas? Hold on, let me see. I'm about to see.
We might have a listener out there in the 702, so we might have to.
Boy, that boy good.
Vegas?
Vegas, Clark County. Yes,
702. Shout out to Vegas. For
Shout
many
out
reasons.
to our listener. Yeah.
For many reasons.
For many reasons. But we do know we have a listener out there. I believe, what is it, Manny, in Reno, Nevada?
Mm-hmm.
That is a faithful of the podcast. Every time the episode drops on Monday,
shout out to Reno.
He's like the first person to listen.
One of the first people to listen, man.
So shout out to you.
Let me see.
The
Reno
702.
775. No, 775 is Reno.
775. Close enough.
We're going to attribute it to the state.
Yeah.
And hold on now. You got to get Reno right, because it's the biggest little city in the world. Got to get Reno they love, man.
So shout out to that listener. Out there in Reno, Nevada. So, gentlemen, we are at the point of our the podcast episode where we have reached our pickle of the week.
When I get us all into the biggest pickle any of us had ever seen.
And brother, let me tell you this.
Who's in the brine this week?
This one's pretty obvious, I think.
But that's the problem with these Jeezy.
But you got a long list.
It could be so many people.
It could be so many people. It could be so many people. You're right. First of all, he is in the pickle of the week. But if you're listening to this, Nicholas Maduro, let us know how you doing, man. We ain't seen no appearance from you.
Boy, ain't heard that man.
Bro,
name, picture,
look,
name,
we don't know how he been
likeness.
treated. We ain't got no updated mugshot. We don't know if he still got the Nike Tech suit.
Like, has he got another one? Is it still the same one? Is it comfortable as it looks?
Bro, right.
Bruh.
Like, yeah. Check in. We
got some questions.
Check in if they letting you listen to the podcast out there in jail.
Tell the people your JPay.
Look, they got they give you a tablet so you can FaceTime. We'll call you. We'll call you and tap in. We can bring you on the episode. We can patch you in. But Nicholas is not our pickle of the week. But our pickle of the week is none other than a man who went from the hills to the political valley, and that is Spencer Pratt. So, as many of you know, Spencer ran for mayor of Los Angeles after losing his Palisades home in the wildfire. So, he built his campaign around the anger over the city leadership, wildfire response, homelessness, crime, and the idea that LA needed an outsider to shake things up. But after the votes kept coming in, and I will say, I at least put in the group chat, I thought, I was like, you know what? He might actually take that number 2 spot. But essentially, the mail-in ballots, man. The mail-in ballots gonna get you every time.
Every time.
And Mr. Trump be trying to stop him.
He be trying to stop the mail-in ballots, but you know he was in number 2. The mail-in ballots came. They started counting. And he fell to 3rd place, and is now going to miss the November runoff. So he tried to turn the celebrity attention into political power, but in L.A. Basically they remember you from reality TV, bro, and they just won't feeling it. So he tried, and I thought when he was going to concede, I should have known the way that he's been running his campaign that he wasn't going to go out without a bang or without swinging at least. But normally, typically when people concede, they ride off gracefully. That's the political thing to do, right? But after conceding, he basically dropped a video reportedly declaring war on the 2 remaining candidates moving forward. So, Spencer, that's why you're in the pickle jar, man. It's not just because you lost, bro.
That's how you lose, man.
Candidates lose every time. They lose every day.
Look, there can't be a winner if there ain't a loser.
It ain't bro. Hey, bro. And
facts on facts.
Second, he came in 3rd place, so that's just 2nd place loser. So I mean,
look, and look, he did better than Nancy Mace, who finished 5th.
Hey, listen. Hey, for what it's worth, you did better than her. But he's in the pickle jar because he lost the mayor's race and responded basically in fashion of what he's used to, like a season finale cliffhanger. So, Spencer, hey, man, you're officially the pickle of the week, man. You tried to go from reality TV villain, the city hall savior, but the voters hit you with the ultimate plot twist, brother. You got canceled. Cancellation, brother. Better luck next time. So sorry. That Trump card didn't work this time, bro. And everybody can go from reality TV to the big house, man. It just don't happen. And unfortunately, that has landed you as the pickle of the week. So, brothers, we've reached that point of our episode where we give out our spotlights of the week. So I'm going to start with you, Manny. What is your spotlight of the week?
Well, we're going to come on back home to the great state of North Carolina. And right now, there is a bill in Raleigh that is stuck in committee. But what is it? So North Carolina House Bill 958, election law changes. It is a 36 page omnibus bill that impacts how ballots are counted, how voter rolls are controlled, citizenship checks, board power, campaign money. There is a ranked choice voting ban. They put it all in once, hence the name Omnibus. So it was sponsored by Hugh Blackwell and Sarah Stevens. And if it passes, most of the things in it won't take effect until 2027 after the election. But who does it help? Who does it hurt? So there's some things in here that I think everyone can take. There's a little bit for everyone. This is not a completed like one side, his side, her side. There are wins for everyone. So it's not like your typical like villain hero story. For Republicans, Some of the things I think that are generated out of it is it concentrates discretion in the state board and its executive director to the auditor, who at this point all Republican controlled. Systemized voter challenges through new statewide audits and mandatory county chair challenges, and setting that up as a pipeline. There's citizenship verifications, weekly and monthly roll maintenance for people who have died, people who have moved, and a non-citizen removal directive that we've heard coming out of a lot of states is also part in there. They ban ranked choice voting, which is one of those things that is getting real interesting now with the thoughts around it, especially when you consider what we talked about earlier about the study and the American public being broken down into essentially nine different sub-parties. And another piece that I found really, really interesting is the party affiliation window. So if, let's say Chuck is a Republican and he decides 90 days before an election, he's going to switch and register as a Democrat to run. It used to be a 90-day window. This is taking that 90-day window to a full year, 365 days. So now you can't just do 3 months out, let's go ahead and switch parties and run for office. You have to have held that party label for a year now. There's a gag that they've also put on this for board members from promoting voting turnout. And then it also shields board and legal strategy from public records. So it lets plaintiffs sue in their home counties. So potentially getting them friendlier venues if they want to challenge things. That's everything that's favorable for kind of Republicans. For Democrats, it extends cure and counting windows from 3 days to 5 days. So if there's an error in the ballot, you get an extra 2 business days to fix and then count those ballots. One of the big things that we saw, especially this time, when votes were thrown out, they threw out the entire ballot. There's a change in here where if they've changed your voting district and you got the wrong ballot, instead of throwing out the entire ballot, they throw out only the votes that were in the affected races. So if you're looking at like where all this redistricting is happening and you are in Congressional District 1 and you were actually supposed to be in Congressional District 2, all your other county level votes would still hold. It adds a signature cure right for provisional ballots. Currently, there's not one of those today. And it expands observer access and bans paying petition circulators per signature. Broadly, that's probably just good. You should not be paying people for signatures, especially when we're talking about governmental efforts. And then it's the other pieces that are genuinely mixed. So the biggest one that I saw in the mixed category is expanded observers. In some places, greater transparency for the boards and the bodies that are doing it. But the flip side of it is you expand the number of people who are able to sit and watch. The opportunities for potentially intimidation also now greatly increase as this continues. So again, some of this bill expands the access. It gives more time to fix ballots. And on the other piece, it kind of restricts. You know, when we look at efforts like Souls to the Polls that are usually backed by the county election boards in terms of verbally, like, hey, getting more people to vote to interject that kind of gag order on them is potentially harmful to some of these efforts. And especially if you just look at the amount of times that people are asked to vote, any effort to encourage people to get out and vote is usually good for turnout. So what should you do? Well, we're all kind of watching this. Well, you can always call your legislator. Right. So right now it's in committee. It's not hit the floor yet. But this is something that I feel like most people in North Carolina should watch very closely, because this kind of changes the rules of engagement and how this will move forward. that don't necessarily impact this election, but they could affect other ones down the road. So we'll see how this has progressed. Other versions of this have been, died immediately as they hit committee or have died when they hit the floor. So it'll be interesting to see what happens as this bill progresses and what it looks like now versus any point that it would hit the floor with amendments. So North Carolina continues to be interesting all the time. And that is my spotlight of the week.
I really like that aspect of extending the time period.
Yeah.
When you want to change parties. First off, that's common. To me, that's a common sense thing. Like, I'm supposed to trust you and your ideologies, and you just changed.
Well, you look back to even this congressional primary where you had, I forgot her name, but there was a woman out in Western North Carolina who changed her party to run against, I believe it was Tim Moore. I feel like that's who, as a Republican, being like, hey, her whole thing was, I'm a Democrat. But because a Democrat cannot win here and my voice is not going to get heard, I'm running as a Republican, so you have to hear my voice. So efforts like that. And it wouldn't shock me if it was specifically that effort in general that now encouraged this to be added to this bill.
Oh yeah, very much so. There was a Democratic candidate for the Georgia primary, and his name slips me right now, and I'm not going to waste my time looking for him, but he was a Republican, and in this cycle of this election period, granted, it was more than 90 days, but he changed. And I know one of the arguments that people who were not in support of him was, well, you voted with Kemp on a lot of things on the state level and, was a part of the abortion ban and different things. So what makes it different now for you?
Mm-hmm. So, they pulled them receipts.
Oh yeah, for sure. So I just like the notion of you give it some time. Show me to prove it to me. That's very dope.
All right, Chuck, what's your spotlight, brother?
Boy, my spotlight is heavy this week, man. I battled back and forth if I wanted to bring this up, but in the end, I felt I would be less of a man if I hadn't said something. Okay. More importantly, I would be less of a black father if I didn't say something. On this past week, we got the conviction and sentencing of Carmelo Anthony in the trial down in Texas with the murder of. I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I just know the last name Metcalf. I can't remember his first name. I know he was a twin. And I'm not here to speak specifically on this trial. I caught the highlights of it. From an emotional standpoint, I intentionally kept myself away from it. Understanding and knowing the triggers that it could bring to me, having a son who is about to enter high school, who is in athletics, who is at a school that is overall diverse but predominantly white, and being in spaces where a lot of times he is one of very few minority kids around. I chose to separate myself from the trenches of it. However, I cannot ignore or separate myself from the sentencing that came down for this young man. Now, there's been arguments back and forth about the particulars of the trial. Again, I'm not here to try the case. I am not here to play prosecutor or defense attorney. But for a 17-year-old to be sentenced to 35 years in prison is insane to me. Or he might be 18 now, but he was 17 when this happened. Is insane. He was exemplary student athlete, no prior criminal history. 35 35 years to me is first-degree murder.
Where there is clear intention.
Clear intent. Clear malicious intent. Premeditated intent. 35 years. And what makes it worse, Texas is a stand-your-ground state. And we have several instances of stand-your-ground where I'm not even asking for him to have been acquitted. Again, this is not me here to retry the trial. But also in Texas, there was a young man in a very similar situation named Kason Allison. It was a white young man. Very similar situation. In fact, in regards to him being a high school student and a student was fatally stabbed because of an incident back in 2022. And in this, he got a 10-year sentence. He was criminally negligent homicide was the conviction. To me, and the highlights, I got the highlights of this case. I'm not trying to retry it. It is very similar to what showed forth with Carmelo Anthony. Criminally negligent homicide. Not murder. And y'all need to understand there is a distinct difference in this in the definition of law. This is not a personal opinion. If you go and read the legal definition of murder and criminally negligent homicide, intent is the number one thing. Mm-hmm. But there are different definitions. Then I go the countless cases. You got Kyle Rittenhouse up in Minnesota. Yep. This man crossed state lines with an assault rifle, intending to do something with it. Then killed an individual. And I'm going to let you know this is not about being black because the person he killed wasn't black. And he got off.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Then we can continue on. What's his name? Daniel Penny up in New York. The former Marine who choked out the man who was having a mental health issue. And he got off because he said he felt his life was in danger and was protecting the others. And then finally, I'm not even going to call his name because, again, this particular case made me very upset. But, wow, I just lost the young man's name. Carson. Oh my God. What is this guy's name? Oh, excuse me. I got it. Cyrus Carmack Belton and Rick Chow in South Carolina, who shot this boy in his back because they said they thought he was stealing water out of their store. Stealing water. Now, people
2 hydrogens and oxygen.
People who need to be shot about stealing water is these people in these data centers. That's who need to be shot.
Bruh. Facts.
But to be shot in your back, not, I'm coming towards you, I'm running away from you. And by all accounts and video footage, he was running away from them. But again, this is not to retry this. My whole point of bringing these up is kind of parallel to what I was saying earlier. And I think my spotlight kind of bled into that response. But what are we doing as a country to say that we are truly one people? Mm-hmm. When so many times and time again, we show that there's a disparaging difference in how one segment, one sector is viewed from others. What are we doing? And so in this, I want you to put a mirror to your face. Black, white, Asian, Chinese, Japanese, Indian, Pacific Islander. I don't care who you are. Put a mirror to your face and ask yourself, what am I doing to contribute to the disenfranchisement of the next man? What am I doing to put down the next man? Because if we're truly one nation under God, we're doing a poor job of executing that. That's my spotlight this week, brothers.
Hey, bro, that was like, well done, brother. Well done. Well done with that message that we oftentimes need to hear. And if you didn't go to church, you got your sermon today from the chairman of chaos himself. So I'll round it up with my spotlight. My spotlight, I wanted to talk about something that may not be grabbing headlines like inflation that we talked about, or wars, or election, but it raises a bigger question about who gets to decide how America tells its own story. This past week, a federal judge ordered the Trump administration to restore historical and scientific information that had been removed or altered at national parks across the country. The ruling that didn't last long, but the ruling centers on signs, exhibits, and displays discussing topics like slavery, civil rights, Native American history, and climate change. For those of you that are not aware, back in 2025, when the Sharpie had so much heat on it from Trump signing so many executive orders,
that thing was smoking.
That thing was on fire, bro. But President Trump signed an executive order called "Restoring Truth and Sanity to American History," which is a very, very odd executive order to call.
But
you're
on
definitely
brand.
not restoring, but on brand for sure. But the administration argued that federal museums, monuments, and parks had become too focused on negative aspects of American history and were presenting what it considered politically biased narratives, which is crazy because it makes me think of what you said at the beginning of the episode, Manny, about America has done bad. I mean, there's good and bad. You can't have one without the other. But somehow it's biased to focus on, or at least be aware of the negative. But following the order, the National Park Service reviewed exhibits and signages that were nationwide. So across numerous parks, references to slavery, indigenous displacement, civil rights struggles, and climate change were either removed, they were rewritten, or they were flagged for removal. But this past week, District Judge Angel Kelly, shout out to you, stepped in and issued a preliminary injunction ordering the government to restore the removed materials within 21 days and halt any further changes while the lawsuit proceeds. So in this, the judge wrote that the administration appeared to be trying to rewrite the nation's history with a whiteout pen. Love that line. That was a bar. She on that Good Friday, she was on a roll. But whether you agree with the administration or not, that's a powerful statement that she made. The court's argument was very simple. American history isn't always flattering, but removing uncomfortable facts doesn't make them disappear.
Does not.
Another bar.
Bruh, I'm telling you, Kelly was on it. But according to the ruling, telling only the parts of history that makes us feel good creates an incomplete story. Another. Now, why does this matter? National parks aren't just places for people to hike, camp, or take family vacation. They're also where millions of Americans learn about the country's history. So if exhibits discussing slavery disappear from Philadelphia, or if Native American displacement is removed from Western parks, or if climate science is erased from educational displays, the question becomes, are we preserving history or are we just editing it? And that's what's really at stake here. My spotlight isn't, really about signs. It's about who controls the national narrative. Every administration puts their own stamp on government agencies. But when those changes involve history itself, courts, historians, and the public start asking whether the line is between interpretation and censorship. So over the next few weeks, we'll see whether the administration appeals the ruling and whether those exhibits are restored as ordered. The administration got a lot on their hand, so this might be one they
just a thing here and there, not that much.
They might just let this one go ahead and go. But one thing is certain: history is often messy, uncomfortable, and controversial. The question America continues to wrestle with is whether we learn from the whole story or we're just going to learn from parts of it. And that's my spotlight of the week. And again, shout out to Judge Kelly for doing your big one on this, because you're 100% correct. We if we're going to grow as America and move and evolve forward, we can't just pick and choose the stuff that we want to digest. Right. We need to take in the whole picture, because believe it or not, and to things that Brother Chuck has said and Brother Manny has spoken of as well, if we are able to take in the good and the bad, it creates something within us as Americans. It creates compassion. It creates empathy. And we can actually be a better people going forward if we understand. We're not asking for you to apologize. We're just asking for you to be aware. Well, yeah, I need my 40 acres in the mule. Never mind. See? But if you at least know and inform yourself, just maybe you got a chance to understand the next man or woman beside you, having that compassion, having that empathy. And that, to me, is what it means to be American, meaning to be a patriot, understanding those things, not deleting them, diluting them, whiting out over them as if they didn't exist, and somehow diminish the next society, the next culture, the next group of people, the next race, because instead of acknowledging the flaws of America, you act like they never existed. So that's my spotlight, brothers.
And we could be a proper people.
Bruh.
Reach out
and then, brother.
And then we can be a proper people.
Make this world a better place.
Better place. if you can. That's all. The moment we stop trying to erase it and just accept it, brother, we can move on, bro.
That's it. Man.
And so, and let me tell y'all something. For those of you who find yourself on the other side, it's easy. It's really easy.
It's real easy.
It takes too much energy to keep that hate.
And it's more fun on this side.
So much more, bro. Look, and y'all already got 1 foot in. Y'all enjoy everything that come with everybody culture. Everybody culture, but you don't want to accept. I don't get it, bro. I don't get it. Find some love, man. Get a little love in your heart.
Get a little love in your heart. Facts,
but that is the conclusion of our episode, brothers. Anything else? All hearts and minds clear.
I just want to real quick say shout out to the New York Knicks.
Bro, they did.
Shout out to the Knicks. They did it. Shout out to, and I ain't gonna stay on that long because yuck. But shout out to the World Cup, man. The World Cup has popped off.
Yeah.
The USA has won their first group stage match. Wherever you are, if you are able to go to a watch party, a fan fest, I highly encourage you, get out, get in the mix. Like perfectly what my brother just said. Mingle with other people. It's a great time. I was at one the other day and it was a blast. And it was all sorts of people out there and we were coming together, just enjoying the presence of each other and the camaraderie.
Yeah, bro.
It's more fun. It's more fun.
And shout out again to the men's team, because I will say this. I don't know how long y'all gonna keep it up, but y'all look vastly different than the teams I've seen.
Different energy.
I don't know what y'all have changed. I don't know what's going on behind up until now. But I love the energy and the aggressiveness that this team has, and I don't believe that I've seen a men's U.S. team look this way in quite some time.
And I just want to clarify for the listeners, as of recording, the Game 6 of the NHL playoffs has not begun. And I just want to say for the record,
I'm about to say, look,
you don't say anything.
I'm about to say, I don't know what you about to say, but I think
right now.
All I'm saying is that I do not plan to watch the game.
Don't call no team names. No, hush.
Yep. Don't say
the Manny curse is real.
As the old Sims, as the old hymn say, never said a mumbling word. Don't you say nothing. Never said a mumbling word. You can keep quiet.
And I got to give my man his props. I got his name and I didn't have it earlier. It's Florian Balogun, and I know that his parents are of Nigerian descent. So you gotta say the last name right. Balogun. Shout out. No, I ain't
shout out to you coming to play over to the U.S., bro. Because you didn't have to. You didn't have to, bro. So,
at all.
Man, enjoy the World Cup, y'all, while it's here. Whoever your team is rooting for. And those of you that are here to watch the games in the US, I know it's a little tight right now. It's a little the tension is a little tight in America right now, but it's a really nice place, I promise.
But bro, it's been hilarious. If you have not seen some of the posts on social media, it's been hilarious of these people coming to America for the first time, discovering stuff. Like the excitement that I've seen, at least 4 different posts of people talking about, oh, the yellow school bus is real.
Bruh.
Comedy. Comedy. There was a guy who experienced Waffle House for the first time here in Atlanta. I promise.
And I know that. And
fine diner.
What was it? The one that we went to? Was it across from Georgia Tech?
Yeah,
I believe it. Yeah. Oh my! Yeah. That was the first time I seen like a Waffle House that big. I'm used to like, the late night club going big. Right, this is a Waffle House. This is a Waffle Mansion.
The Waffle Complex.
A waffle compound. That's what that was, bro. But if you over here in the States, I promise you the political tension is tight, but it's a really cool place, man, with some pretty cool people if you're in the right area. So if you get a chance, go to Waffle House, go to Bojangles if you're in the area that got it. But as long as it ain't the one in New York, it ain't gonna do you no justice.
Yeah, don't go to that one in New York
and go to Cookout. Get you a Cookout tray.
Yeah, and we lit here in Atlanta. I don't know what other host cities are doing for their fan fest, but our fan fest is lit every match. It's amazing. Like there's watch parties all over the metro area.
I can imagine, bro. I know
the energy is crazy. You can catch me at Magic City on Monday. They're opening up early for. Who is it? I'm trying to think of the match. It's leaving me, but.
I know Spain plays, but I don't know if it's a Spain match. I think Spain play at 3.
I can't remember what match it is. It's a match. Oh my God. I had it earlier, but yeah, they opened up at 12.
Oh, no. It is Spain. It is Spain. Yeah, they play at 12. Spain. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah,
they play in Cape Verde.
Cape Verde, that's exactly who it is. How could I forget my Cape Verdeans?
Oh, bro, that's crazy, man.
But yeah, it's they're opening at 12 o'clock to show that match, and I said it was going to be WFM for me, work for Magic. So I have my laptop charged up.
That's real, bro.
I'm ready to go, man.
But yeah, man, to our listeners, we hope that you enjoy the World Cup, but most of all, hope you enjoy this episode. As always, like, share, follow the pod on all our platforms. Go and follow us on Instagram. We're on X, Twitter. We're on YouTube. We're on IG,
Blue Sky.
Everywhere. We everywhere. So follow us. Also subscribe to our YouTube page where we have releases come out on Monday evenings live. And just share the word. You know, if you like the pod, you enjoy what we do here. It don't cost anything to share and help us with that exposure. And if you enjoy it and know somebody that will, spread the word. As always, as we tell you here, if don't nobody love you, just know the boys here at the pod. We love you. We love you. We love you. We thank you for tuning in and lending us your ear for the duration of this episode. And we hope that it finds you in the best place possible. And we will see you at the next episode. Take care, world.
Peace.